Okay, so when you're ready, bring the level of the buffer at the top down into the resin. You want to make sure there's almost no buffer at the top, but do not let it run dry. Shut off the stopcock and proceed to sample loading. You're given a ml of the extract and load it onto your column very carefully. Bring it close to the bed volume, but do not touch it, and slowly, slowly depress your thumb to drop by drop the sample onto the column. Now you can open the stopcock and let the sample load onto the column. When you're loading the sample, you don't want to disrupt the bed volume. So now again, you're going to just let it go drop by drop until the entire sample is loaded onto the column, until the solution is about 2 millimeters, or essentially there's no solution left above it, but don't let it run dry. Okay, once the sample solution is completely on the column, go ahead and turn the stopcock off again. Get a transfer pipette. And you're going to use the same transfer pipette for all solutions, since it's the same solution, but we're just increasing in concentration. So we're going to take the first solution, which is 0.005 molar tris, and we're going to just add a few drops to the top of the column, and then we can open the stopcock and add about a ml, and then just let it go onto the column. We're essentially washing the sample onto the column. Once the 0.005 molar tris has come completely onto the bed, you can proceed to the next solution. Discard any aqueous waste that you might have in your. Proceed to the next higher solution, which is 0.05 molar tris. And if you need to, turn off the stopcock so that the column bed does not run dry. And again, carefully add drop by drop about a ml of the next solution. And again, you can open up the stopcock. You don't have to close it if you don't want to, as long as it doesn't run dry. Now what you want to look for to see if you can see any of the solution, of any of the color coming into the column. And all I see right now is the blue is just essentially loaded onto the column, and that there's no color going forward. You can add another ml if you want to just double check. And if it doesn't seem to be moving, proceed to the next higher concentration. When you proceed to the next higher concentration, again, you want to have all the solution go into the bed volume and before you add it, so you're not mixing solutions above. Next higher concentration solution that I have is 0.15. Again, just drop-wise, very carefully in the center of the column so that it doesn't disturb the bed. So again, if you don't see any color, let the solution go onto the column and then proceed to adding the next higher concentration, in this case 0.25. Add a ml at a time, let it go onto the column, drop by drop, and then add another ml if you see the color moving into the column. We're on the 0.25, and you might be able to see a very faint pink band moving through the column. And so you can either collect, in cuvettes as you go along, or when the pigment starts to get closer to the bottom. So we're going to let the pink go closer to the bottom, and then we're going to start collecting the cuvettes. Since the 0.25 is moving it, I can go ahead and put quite a few mils above and have it start collecting. And again, whenever you need to stop it, or if you're not sure what to do, you can always turn off the stop clock. I want to start collecting, even though the band's way up here. I'm going to set this up so I can start collecting and be sure to get my pink band. This column is very adjustable. You can adjust the height and the depth here to easily collect in the cuvette. And again, because the pigment is moving through the column, I am sticking with the same concentration to push it out. And we're going to collect about 1 ml volume in the cuvette, and it doesn't need to be exact. There seems to be 1 ml or more, enough solution. Then I can just move the entire rack over to collect another fraction. I'm going to keep doing that until I've collected past the pink band. And then what you can do once you've collected all your samples, when you do your spectrophotometer reading, you can just pick the one that is the most pink and the sample that's the most blue. So the pink is coming off now. Since the pink is almost off and it's quite distant from the blue, I'm going to go ahead and go to the next higher concentration. In this case, it's 0.05 millitris. And again, I'm going to do just like I did before, where almost all the solution was onto the column. I'm going to add 1 ml, let that go onto the column, and I should see the blue start to come into the column as well. So now you can see the blue is starting to migrate as well. Again, as each cuvette has about 1 ml solution in it, I can just move it over into the next cuvette. Okay, so we've had the 0.5 roller has been going through the column, and now the blue is starting to come out at the bottom. And so we're going to just start collecting those fractions as well, and collect about 1 ml in each cuvette. You might have noticed that the blue, when it was staying behind, was getting more and more broad. It's still, the molecules are diffusing, so this is kind of a race against, you know, getting good separation, but not taking too long to allow the molecules to diffuse. So, and also you can see the 0.05 is pushing the blue off, but there's also some pigment that is kind of remained behind, so the resin is not as clean as when it started. And when you have 1 ml of the blue pigment, essentially you're done, and you can stop the experiment. You know, just stop the stop clock, and then you proceed to doing a scanning spectrophotometer reading of your most pink sample and your most blue sample. So just look through your samples and pick out which one you think is best.